Welcome back, Pokemon trainers. Professor Chaz here, the lab coat's on back order, and now it's time for our final week of Pokemon Omega Ruby Rotation Battle team building. So as I've said along the way, this is week number, I think it's 14. And the Mega Evolution team captain for this week is going to be Blaze, our Charizard. Of course, I've already used him as Mega Charizard Y, but he does have that second Mega Evolution into Mega Charizard X, and that's the one we're going to focus on this week. I used this particular set for Blaze back in the Kanto Classic, made him more of a physical attacker. It didn't work amazingly well for him as a regular Charizard, but I'm sure as a Mega Charizard, gaining the Tough Claws ability, he's going to do a lot more damage with all these physical connecting moves that I've taught him. So without anything else being said, we're going to get right into the team builder right now. I'm going to show you Blaze's moveset as well as the other 5 Pokemon I've selected to help him try to get some victories as Mega Charizard X in this week's Pokemon Omega Ruby Rotation Battles. Now, just before we get into the actual team building part of the video, I do have an apology to express, and it's not to anybody out there, it is to one of our own. Now, I've been hyping up this week as our final rotation battle in which I'm using a new Mega Evolution as the team captain. Somehow, I completely blanked on one in my collection. That is Skippy the Swampert. Skippy, listen man, you were my first Pokemon in the Hoenn region. You were my starter from Birch. I don't know how this entire time I've been letting Mega Swampert slip my mind. So unfortunately, Skippy is not going to get his chance to serve as team captain this week, but next week he is definitely going to be coming back as Mega Swampert. But for this week he's actually going to be helping out Blaze, who is the Mega Evolution team captain for this week. You'll see he is a quirky Pokemon. He has a nature that actually doesn't increase or decrease anything, so it is neutral. And he has the natural ability of Blaze, of course. So if he is low HP, he's going to increase the power of his Fire-type moves. And of course the item is that Charizardite X. We're going to get some Mega Charizard X in play, switching the ability over to Tough Claws, which boosts the power of all physically connecting moves, which is pretty much all Blaze has this week, as you will see. The first one is a very powerful Flare Blitz. 120 power. It does cause recoil to the user, but it is a physical connecting move, so it's going to be boosted by the Tough Claws. And we also replaced his, this is basically his moveset from the Kanto Classic, but this time I replaced Thunder Punch with Dragon Claw. It's going to be Stab once he Mega Evolves, and it is still physically connecting. And we have other electric moves on the team this week, so we didn't really need that for Blaze. Dragon Claw is a better way to go. Shadow Claw, he still has that. It did a good number on a Gengar that we encountered in the Kanto Classic. Plus, it also just covers some more type coverage, such as Ghost or Psychic types that might come in. And Mud Slap is a move we're probably not going to make use of because it is a special-based move, and that's from his moveset as a Mega Charizard Y when I use him as that. But it's a move he can't relearn, and he actually floored a Rhyperior back in, I believe it was the Heart Gold, Soul Silver, what would you call it, the Battle Resort kind of thing. And he defeated a Rhyperior to get those battle points to learn Mud Slap. Since it's a move he can't relearn, I'm probably never going to have him forget that. Anyway, checking out the Super Training, we've maxed him out for Attack this week, and Speed. That's the same training that we gave him for the Kanto Classic. So he is as he was back then, except Mega Evolution is on his side this time. The first Pokemon joining him on the team this week to try to get some wins for our next to last Mega Team Captain Rotation Battle thingy that we're doing, Zapdos. Now this is in honor of our Tuesday episode of Pokemon Blue. If you didn't see that, we did have an encounter with the legendary Zapdos. I'm not going to spoil how it ended if you haven't seen it yet, but chances are you can figure it out. Zapdos is on the team. He is a Jolly Pokemon, which is an increase for his speed, but lowering his special attack, so not super perfect, but you see the special stat is still at 301 here at level 100 as it is, and the ability, of course, is Pressure, so the opponent will use double the PP when attacking Zapdos, and he's got his very favorite item, the Black Belt, to power up his fighting-type moves. As you'll see, he doesn't seem to have any, but just wait. First of all, Discharge is the move to go with for the stab boost, and a better chance to cause paralysis than Thunderbolt. Now, it is 10 points weaker, but still, I think the better chance to cause paralysis and get some speed control on the opposing side is actually pretty beneficial. Hidden power for Zapdos is Fighting. Now, a Zapdos' only natural weaknesses are Rock and Ice, which Fighting type is very good against, it's super effective, and that Black Belt is going to boost Hidden Power from 60 to 72 for power. And Light Screen is the move to go with. I usually have Substitute for Zapdos, but for more team coverage, I did teach him Light Screen. My idea is, if I can get him with the Light Screen and I have another Pokemon with Reflect, once both of those screens are up, Zapdos might not even need a substitute. He can sort of, bounce some hits off of them. And we do have Roost on there as well. And I really like running Roost on Zapdos for the fact that when you use it, now chances are Zapdos will outspeed the opponents thanks to being Jolly and super trained for speed. Roost actually eliminates the flying type of the Pokemon for that turn. essentially that's going to turn his his ice and rock weaknesses off, and it's going to give him the weakness to ground. And the chances are the opponent is not going to try to use a ground move on Zapdos, so I'm pretty sure we'll be safe to withstand any sort of attack that they go with. Should be nothing super effective hitting him as he roosts up and gets back 50% of his HP. For his super training, kind of like Blaze, only a little bit different. We maxed out the speed, and we went special attack with Zapdos, of course. He is more on the special offensive side, as you see. The next Pokemon joining the team, and it's sort of a spoiler for later on this week, but let's just go ahead and show you. We're going to include Articuno. This seems to be Zapdos and Articuno week on the channel, which I'm totally fine with. He is a lonely Pokemon, which increases his attack and lowering defense, so not super beneficial. But regardless, it is what he has, we're going to work with that. And he also has the pressure ability, so again, draining PP twice as much from the opponent if they attack him. And he's holding leftover, because he's more on the defensive side for this week. He's going to heal back some HP at the end of each turn that he's in the active spot on that rotation platform. For the moveset, I really like Freeze Dry on him. I used to go with Ice Beam, but Freeze Dry has a lot more type coverage. I shouldn't say a lot, but it has like at least one more type that it covers. Of course, it is super effective against the normal things that Ice is good against, but it's also the only Ice type move super effective against water types as well. So we can cover that kind of type coverage also. And Mud Slap, much like Blaze, that is a move he learned from the... I keep forgetting what it's called, but it's like basically the Battle Resort. Back in... it was Soul Silver that I played through. And it has a chance to... it doesn't have a chance. It always lowers the accuracy, and it is super effective against a number of his weaknesses. Now, of course, it's not super powerful, but if we want to go for it, we could lower the accuracy and possibly start dodging some hits. And you see Articuno is our reflect setter for the team. He's got good defenses, so I can rotate him up. He can probably tank a pretty decent hit, get that reflect up. I could then rotate into Zapdos if I have him in play also, and get the light screen up. Suddenly we'll be protected on both sides. And just to ensure that some of our not super fast Pokemon could outspeed the opponents, we're going to go with Tailwind as Articuno's fourth move, doubling the speed of the Pokemon on my side for 3 turns. Now, super training for Articuno is interesting. We put most of it into the physical defense to get it up to 250, put a good amount into special for get 300 points in special defense, and we put the remainder into the special attack, getting that a little bit over 260. The next Pokemon, of course, as I already mentioned, is going to be Skippy, our Swampert. Sorry, man. We'll get your Mega Stone for next week, I swear! Anyways, he is a Lax Pokemon, which improves defense while lowering special defense. He has the Torrent ability, so much like Blaze, except Water type, if he is low HP, his Water moves are going to hit with a little bit more power. And since he could drop to a single Grass type attack, he does have Focus Sash for this week. We're going to ensure that we survive one hit. This worked out really well. One week when we went up against a Greninja with Protein and Grass Knot. We survived the Grass Knot with that 1 HP, and we Avalanched, as you'll see as one of his moves, and knocked out that new Grass-type Greninja in a single hit, so it kind of works out pretty well. Now, for the rest of the moveset, we have Waterfall, of course, good for stab, and if we can outspeed, which isn't likely initially, we could get a flinch. Now, to try to outspeed, we could go for the Bulldoze and lower the speed. He's one of the speed control Pokemon for this week. We can lower the speed of any target we hit with that Bulldoze, and if we outspeed, we might start flinching with Waterfall. Of course, there is Avalanche. It's an Ice-type move. It's another move that cannot be relearned if this Pokemon forgets it, so he's going to probably keep that for, basically, life. And good against any Grass types as well as any Flying types that will be immune to Bulldoze that we can't slow down. And if they outspeed and get a hit in on us, Avalanche has negative speed priority, so it'll always go last. And if the user has taken damage from the target in that turn, Avalanche's power is doubled from 60 to 120. And just so we can kind of feel out what the opponent's going to go for, I do have Protect. I can rotate Skippy up, get the Protect Shield up, and just see what the opponent tries to go for. Hopefully they don't go for some sort of a setup move as we do that. Now, the super training is kind of like Articuno, but I guess reversed. A good amount into both special defense and defense, getting them both up to, well, defense is over 280, special defense is about 200, and we put the rest into the attack. We're at a nice round number of 300 for the attack stat. The 5th Pokemon in this week's team is going to be good old Marowak. Now, I haven't actually used him yet, and he's been a pretty decent powerhouse in all the previous matches that I have used him. He is a serious Pokemon, which is a neutral nature, so nothing is boosted or dropped from that. And he's got the Lightning Rod ability, so since we have a couple of electric weaknesses, we only have one actually, unless you count Blaze before Mega Evolution. But if the opponent, I predict, might go for an electric type move, I can rotate Marowak in. It doesn't really matter in the rotations now that I think about it. It's more double and triple battle that Lightning Rod affects Marowak, because once the electric move is drawn into the Lightning Rod, it basically fizzles out. Now, if it was like, say, Scruff who has Lightning Rod, the Manectric, then we would gain a special attack boost from it. But either way, He is going to draw any electric moves away from anyone in the active spot, but only while he's in the active spot. Forget I said anything about Lightning Rod. Thick Club is the held item. It, I believe, doubles the attack stat of a Marowak or a Cubone holding it, and his attack is at 255. We're going to bump that up to 510 if it does double. I think it's either 50% or doubled. I want to say doubled because I think I remember reading that. Anyhow, either way, he is tough. He's got the moveset of Bone Meringue for stab, and a lot of people might run Earthquake on a Marowak just because it's more reliable. Bone Meringue isn't fully accurate. I believe it has 50 power, but it hits twice, so essentially the same power as Earthquake. But what I like about Bone Meringue is if you're attacking something that is weak to ground but has one of those Shuka Berry items to weaken super effective damage, it only weakens the first hit of Bone Meringue. The second one hits with full power. So we could possibly break things like, a Sturdy perhaps, or one of those berries, things like that. Bone Meringue hits twice, we're going to be able to get off 2 hits in a single turn. And for some type coverage, we have Fire Punch, we've got Thunder Punch, we've got Brick Break. That covers a lot of his weaknesses, but also just puts some good type coverage on the team as well. I can rotate into Marowak, try to predict what the opponent might have active, and go for whatever is the most beneficial move at that point. For the super training for Marowak, we max out the attack stat, put a pretty decent amount into special defense, getting it to 220, and drop the remainder into the physical defense, getting it to 250, so he's going to be taking some pretty decent hits, especially once we get those 2 screens up, the reflect and the light screen. Final Pokemon for the team is going to be Guar the Primeape. He is a jolly Pokemon, just like Zapdos, so his speed goes up, special attack goes down. That's really good for something like Primeape. They're pretty fast to begin with, and the nature is going to boost that even higher. You're losing special attack? Who cares? Primeape is not a special attacker. Now, the ability Vital Spirit says this Primeape here, Guar, will never fall asleep. It is immune to the sleep condition. And he's borrowing Machamp's Muscle Band for this week, just to make sure his physical moves hit with a little bit more power. It increases the power of all physical moves by 10%. And the first physical move is a Stab Low Sweep. This is more of that speed control. Now, since Guar is pretty fast, he could outspeed the opponents that otherwise might outspeed the rest of my team, but Guar could get off that low sweep, lowering the speed of the target, and possibly helping out some of the not as fast Pokemon this week outspeed on the following turns. Poison Jab is there for some more type coverage. It's our only poison move this week, and good against his weakness of fairy types if we see any of those. Rock Tomb, more speed control. Slow things down, good against flying types that he's weak against, and just basically some more coverage. Substitute is the final thing, kind of like Skippy's Protect attack. We can bring Guar up, put the Substitute up, just to see what the opponent's going to go for. Of course, a sound-based move will bust right through that, but I don't see a lot of those in the rotation battle, so who knows, this could be the week that it actually does appear and completely ruin our strategy, but there's only one way to find out once we get into those battles. For super training for Guar, we see the attack and speed have both been maxed out. HP has the remainder dropped into it, but it doesn't really affect anything, so attack and speed is where it's at for Guar the Primeape. So that is your team for our now next to last, Omega Ruby rotation battle featuring a Mega Evolution as the team captain. Come on back to the channel tomorrow as we get into those battles, and I'll show you exactly how things play out. In the meantime, if you want to leave any comments on this video, letting me know what you think of these Pokemon and the strategies and any suggestions for improvements that you might have, feel free, I'm getting stumbled over my words, feel free to leave me a comment down below, let me know what you think, and I look forward to hearing from you and possibly incorporating any suggestions you might have into some future battles with these Pokemon. With all that, I gotta take a break from talking for a bit. I'm gonna get off, get a drink of water, and get ready for the rotation battles which I'm about to record, which will be uploaded to the channel tomorrow. I want to say thank you everybody for checking out these, look at this, I can't even speak. I want to thank you for checking out this team building video today, these Pokemon, and with all that, I will catch you next time.